Well, we've all done it before in this crazy world of toy collecting. Do I buy that thing? Do I not buy it? Should I have bought it? Should I return it? What the hell did I just do? And after all the years later of collecting, I personally still ask myself, what the hell did I just do? But anyway, I just want to welcome everybody to this Saturday morning edition of the Toy Connections online live stream, or TKO. So we're broadcasting, I guess, most of my streams have been on a Sunday, but right now managed to work it in on a Saturday. So just in case anybody's overseas and it's already the next day for them, I know my Australian viewers and New Zealand viewers always kind of, if I stream it on a Sunday, they're always catching it Monday on the way into work. So I kind of feel like I'm doing them a bit of a favor right now by doing it at this particular time. But you're not here to see me ramble. You probably saw the thumbnail. You probably saw the all-star cast that I got that's going to be joining us any second now, and they're waiting very patiently backstage. So I'm going to bring our guests in here one by one, and they're going to help me and the chat weigh in on this particular topic. So this first individual, if you watch this channel, you've seen me recommend him across a few different platforms. He streams every single Tuesday at 9:30 Eastern or 6:30 Pacific on Toy Anxiety, and also has this very amazing DC Insight channel called Gotham City Tonight. Both links are in the description below. He's over vacationing with family, but he's managed to join us for this fun and exciting morning and topic. Ryan Dole, how are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm still in the farmhouse. Did not bring any of my podcasting, YouTubing gear, so everything's echoey and dark and filmed with a potato. But everything's great. I'm loving the minus 20. It's windy today. So there you go. There's your case of weather anxiety for any of you toy anxiety watchers who are looking forward for the weather.
Well, he's here because he knows that this is where the fun begins.
Yes.
I was going to say that before you came on camera, then I'm like, I'm going to wait till he comes on camera. We've tried to stream together a few times before, but never really got the timing.
We've only got to ever really, it's funny, we finally got to meet at the toy show in Vancouver, and then then I'm always out of town since.
Yeah, pretty much. Like trying to get Dole on the show here is it's more difficult than asking out the head cheerleader in high school. But if you stay persistent and you wine and dine her enough, she'll eventually show up. And that was the worst analogy I've ever. Wow, it must be too early in the morning. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee, then I'm going to bring a few friends on because we're just going to ride right past that head cheerleader.
Yeah, let's just go.
Hell, all right. And this other individual, you've seen him on the show before. He's a bit of a Canadian legend. He's kind of coming up the YouTube space in his highly articulated YouTube channel. He just did a Figura Obscura Santa unboxing the other night. Adam, welcome back to TKO, my man.
Ken, I thought you were talking about somebody else because that description didn't sound accurate, but I'll take it. I appreciate it. I'm coming at you guys live from Kelowna this morning, where it is currently snowing. That's the weather report here.
What did I say? What did I say earlier? Did you not? I swear I was in the live chat when you unboxed that Four Horsemen figure the other night.
No, I think you referred to me in much more glowing terms than I probably.
Oh, okay. You're one of those humble people. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry.
I was. Ken went through his whole list of people to invite today, and when everybody else said no, he reached out to me, and I said sure, absolutely. So that's so I'm here, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be one of the lucky chosen few to even make the long list. So
you make it sound like I have a long Rolodex of friends when it's really kind of like check. Has he been on the show before? It's really not much more scientific than that. But well, anyway.
Ken, I love being here. I love these panels. And if I wasn't on here, I would be in the chat watching. So it's this just means I don't have to type as much.
You know who else I love? Our next guest over here, who I personally consider this guy the funniest personality in the toy, YouTube, and social media content creation space. When I hear the music that he's got to start his streams, I kind of like, all right, it's time to go. And he just outdid himself earlier this week. If you haven't checked him out before, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? He is, we'll talk about it when he's on camera, but Mad Hatter Reviews, welcome. Thank you for waiting patiently, my friend.
Hey, oh my God, what an introduction. By the way, everybody, lower your expectations because I'm not going to be funny, and it's not. I'm really tired, so I kind of don't like, Ken, that you just built me up that way, because now it's like I gotta put on a show for everybody. So nobody expect any of that. But thank you. Thanks for bringing me on, buddy. Very excited. I've done a few things with Dole. Adam, this is the first time meeting you, but your legend is vast. So hello, and it's my first time on Toy Connections. I'm very excited.
Well, I wasn't sure if you were going to show up under one of your other personas today, like all of a sudden Flipper Frank shows up, who happens to sound exactly like you and look a lot like you, or Fred from Mattel, who we don't know what he looks like, but he sounds a lot like you. I've streamed with that guy before, and I theorize you're all the same person, but it could be triplets or something like that all ended up in the toy space in different sectors of the reject toy community. Reject?
Ken, that's just what Americans sound like.
Yeah, we all kind of look alike. This is my new persona. It's called Sleepless Dad. It's a new character that I'm trying out. So we'll see how it flies.
Well, I'm excited because I feel like I'm refereeing an all-star game right now. So you know what? Let's drop the puck. No, are we all hockey fans here? I don't know. Some of us are Canadian. Anyway, whatever. It's all good. But if you haven't checked out Hatter's parody to Linkin Park's "In the End," it's very well filmed. I didn't know he could sing, or did I know he could sing? I don't know.
You still technically don't know I can sing because
until we get a live performance. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So
it's all auto-tune.
It's all auto-tune.
It's all auto-tune. It's like a lot of those bands with older singers who can't sing like they did back in the day. The auto-tune's really saving them. But that's a whole nother.
Is it though?
Okay, fine. You can kind of tell nowadays. Let's say a quick hello to the chat. It's actually quite busy this morning. So
they're going wild in the chat.
They're going wild. We got Jim Largo, Jarhead, who I chatted with yesterday. We got Nolan, as always. We got another legend here in Kayla Silva. We got Gazz. We got Elvin, who's actually in our Vancouver area. Good to see you. We've got I sorry, I kind of missed that, but maybe I'll have to go back and catch the replay on that. No? Okay, ride past it. Whoosh. Over our heads. All right, cool.
No, it was good. It was
You're
good.
doing great, buddy.
Wes from Found and Power Podcast. We got Danjamin905. We got Jonathan Redmond. We got Skyfall. Ian J. Wilhelm Toy and Hobby. We got Brick Something. Left Coast Graphics. Toy Geekosaurus. Stephen S. Vader Girl 28. You know what? It's not usually this busy the first, not even 10 minutes into the chat. So I know everyone's here to see these gentlemen rather than me. So thank you all for the confirmation bias. The legends we are surrounded by. We got a few more people coming in. Grumpy Fish saying hello, everyone. All right, folks. Collecting regrets. I mean, I showed you all the thumbnail, and I know you all kind of went, all right, this got to go back into the memory bank and think a little bit about what I want to say without hating myself. And yes, I had this internalized conversation as well.
Yeah, let's reopen these wounds.
Let's reopen these wounds. This was actually a write-in request from a patron named Troy. And at first I was like, I don't know if I want to tackle that. Then I asked another patron. They're like, you're definitely tackling that. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So look, we've all had that toy that we passed on and blew up in price later. If you can think of one, help me out and talk through the topic. We're going to go clockwise. Dole, have you got one in mind that comes to mind for this?
One that usually it's a Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure that I missed by a couple pieces. And then because you these two will always be easy to get. Don't worry about Deathlock. Don't worry. He's still in the pegs. I'll grab him later. I need this other one right now. And now I have Alpha Flight, except for Sasquatch. So, and again, like all those, like even just single parts going for like 30, 40 bucks.
Yeah.
On Build-A-Figures, it's
Yeah.
insane. Like I always see people too, just like on just Facebook or like just anywhere social media, and they're always like, "Oh, I'm missing a wing from from somebody," and it's there's so much of that, and I think for me, I think it's always like those regrets are always just like the ones where you want the Build-A-Figure or even just the figure itself, but then because they're not like the top selling, most popular one, you sit on it, and then next thing you know, you blink, it's gone. And now it's all of a sudden like double, triple price.
Didn't Sasquatch come as part of the Alpha Flight 4-pack or 5-pack as well, or no?
Did not.
Oh, it did not. Okay. I was wondering
Part
about
of the
that.
Deadpool series.
Hasbro hates customers, so they screwed everybody over.
Yeah,
No,
even though it's my own fault because
Yeah,
everyone
even
was
though-
there and I sat on like 2 characters. That's
And have you
but I'll
checked?
blame Hasbro. That's what sad comments is all about. Checking the toy anxiety.
That's-
Always Hasbro's fault.
yeah. Leaving
That's
money
right.
on the table if they just released a deluxe Sasquatch.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't suppose eBay is your friend on this one, is it? Is it Dole?
Here's my problem with eBay, but this is only because I'm a Canadian. Sometimes it'll be like, okay, I could get the parts I need. Like, here's one of the parts I need. Here's a leg that I need. There it is, $20. Shipping, $30. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
Import
I
fees.
want to pay $50.
10.
Yeah.
And then the seller writes down the full value, including the shipping, including the import. Then you get taxed on all of the above because they don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. So it becomes one of those, like, it's just that's where like it just kind of doubles the price. So it's one of those things where it's like when for any of us who live on the west coast of Canada, there's a place called Toy Traders that we all love to frequent. So for me, it's just like that's always the one thing I go to. I go to the little, they call it the Wampa Cave.
Yeah,
And it's
downstairs.
like under the stairs of the store.
Yeah.
And they have like the one cabinet and it's all Build-A-Figure parts. So it's usually the first thing I do is go and check to see if the Build-A-Figure parts are restocked and see if I can grab anything. But I'm still missing one part. And it's my own damn fault. So that's why it's always like try to learn from those regrets of.
But if it's a popular part, someone's probably gotten there before you, right? Because that's out in Langley, right?
Yeah,
it's like a 50-minute drive for you, right? Like,
and it's always from a figure that nobody wanted in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just, or I shouldn't say never wanted in the first place. I should rephrase that. It should be from a figure that is not the most popular in the wave.
It'll be from a figure that was only purchased to get the Build-A-Figure. So there's no extras floating around.
Right. Exactly.
Everyone that bought it for the figure, for the Build-A-Figure piece and threw out the figure in a bin or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find the figure everywhere loose.
Yeah.
Or you can find them in the box still without the Build-A-Figure.
Without Build-A-Figure. Yeah.
how many times you walk by a toy show and you're like, oh, there it is, and it's like no Build-A-Figure piece, right? And of course it's like it's down priced to like $10 because they just took the Build-A-Figure.
Every 6 months at the one at the PNE.
The one that I saw you at, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. Which Adam, you got to make the drive down here for. So
you know what? If we didn't keep having young children, it would be easier. We come down to the coast. I'm about 4 hours inland from Vancouver, and we have family there, so we make the trip multiple times a year. I've just yet to be able to convince my wife that that's a good enough reason to take our whole family down. But now that the oldest is kind of the age where like I took her to a Comic-Con in Kelowna just to kind of get a feel for how she likes that sort of space and that energy. She absolutely loved it. So it may be me and the oldest hitting Toy Traders, hitting the toy show, and then turning right around and coming home.
April 1st and 2nd will be our next big one here. So
okay. The other problem is I got to drive a mountain pass to get there. So then it's, do I risk life and limb for the possibility of getting the monster venom hand that I need to complete my convert my kingpin into I'm blanking. X-Men villain. Shadow King.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Missing one hand. I don't even need the whole arm. I just need that hand. I have one of the two.
So is that your answer? If I was to ask you toy collecting regrets, Adam, would that be it, or did you have another one in mind in terms of things you passed on and
I did have one, and I totally forgot because my brain started thinking about Build-A-Figures. What was it? Oh, it was just the figures where you see it at a great price, but it's not like retail, and you're like, and then it's instantly gone. Or you check back the next day, whether it's an eBay thing or AliExpress or something like that, and it's like 3 times more because those prices just fluctuate like crazy. There isn't, for me, this will be a reoccurring theme in my answers. I don't get a lot of regrets in the sense that like I get really hung up on things. I kick myself for not picking certain things up. And as far as like pieces that I haven't purchased, I don't have a lot that I'm like really, I don't lie awake in bed at night thinking about these things that I've missed. What does keep me awake, and we may get to this later, is things that I've sold or like my childhood collection that I just don't have anymore. But yeah, as far as like one specific item, I've got so many cool toys that I kind of don't have the time to sort of sit and ponder, what don't I have? I think a lot of people that know me know this about me, that I tend to be the person that says, look at what's on your shelf rather than what's not on your shelf. And that'll keep you distracted for a long time. If you're anything like any of us, right? We have tons of cool stuff, that chasing the dragon as such, it's not really in my nature. But it is a fascinating conversation that I have with people constantly.
Fair enough. Yeah, those conversations sound familiar. Hatter?
Yeah, I can.
Well, I've had them with you before. Yeah,
I know.
Hatter, what about you? Anything you passed on that blew up later and made you feel a little?
There's a lot. There's actually too much to remember.
That's okay.
When I saw the topic, I was like, shit, I don't know.
It's okay. It's all good,
alcohol has destroyed my memory, and so I'm just trying to like go back now. I wrote a few things down. By the way, I'm all about what's not on my shelf. Just FYI.
I was gonna say we've got a great balance here, I think.
Here's a few things. Let me go through my notes. I actually did some homework here. Mafex, I was one of the people. I for the longest time I saw those like Spider-Man McFarlane Mafexes when they first came out, like the Venom and what is it, number 75 Spider-Man or whatever. Those are the ones that like shot up to $200, $300. I kept seeing them in Frankensons. I kept seeing them in Little Tokyo, and I was like, these are cool, but at the time they were like $80. And I was like, I don't know if I want to spend that. This was a new company. What's this company? Who are these upstarts? Do I need this? And I kept on passing on them. It even got to the point where like they were selling them for like $50. Mafex figures for $50. It doesn't happen. And I was like, no, whatever. And then I don't know. I went to sleep and I woke up and then everything was like $200, $300. It was just insane, stupid prices. Thankfully, I found one more expensive. I mean, it wasn't like $50, but like down the line, they re-released some stuff. But that was like a big regret where I was like, because I was like looking for like, I'm like obsessed with like McFarlane era, like Spider-Man. And I was looking for like, what's the perfect, and that's like the perfect, if you look at like the number 75 Spider-Man and even the re-release in the Venom with the Venom face, the McFarlane face. I know people don't like the size scaling. on them. I don't mind. I'm not really the gigantic Venom guy. I kind of like old school. He's like a head taller than Spider-Man type Venom. But that was a regret for sure. Is that Mayfex? What's some other stuff right here? I forgot their names, but it was like the Mythic Legion's line of like bird warriors.
The Etheon guys, or
Gothtropolis.
Yeah. Their names are just ridiculous. I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
But like they're going for like 500,000 or 1,000. So, and I saw those 100 times. The 100 times I saw them, I had them in my hands. I was like, I don't know. So yeah. But no, I do agree with Adam in terms of like ultimately, cosmically, I'm not going to sit there and just regret, but it does irk me when people message me and they say, oh, this is such a cool thing. And I go, you know what, actually, can we curse here? I was about to, but
sparingly.
Okay,
Yes,
sparingly.
you can.
And then what's another one? And then, sorry, the other one I wrote down is that there's a bunch more than this, by the way, but the Ultimates, remember when Super 7 took over Masters of the Universe?
Yep.
They did like those 5 Ultimate figures. It was like Tila, Ram Man, Skeletor, Faker, and He-Man. And they did like an Ultimates pack, and they're beautiful. They go for like $500 now. I could have got them pennies on the dollar. I passed it up every time, and that's definitely a regrets that I have. There's a bunch more, man. My whole life is just a bunch of regrets. But yeah, that's those are just some that I wrote down right there.
Well, you know what? I keep forgetting that you're within driving distance of the Frank and Son toy show, because I know that's like a weekly sort of toy flea market. Basically, I saw it on Toy Hunter.
Yeah,
and it must be awesome to just be able to drive out there and just go to town.
It's cool, but it sucks ass now for this reason, is that they used to be, Frank and Sons used to be in one location where the parking sucked, okay? But if you went into the neighborhoods nearby, you could at least park, and if you walk 20 minutes, you can get into there. They moved it into like an ex-Sam's Club or something like that, and the parking lot is the only place you can park, and it's always full. So unless you show up at like 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, which is just terrible. It's like you can't find parking, and it's like a whole fiasco now. So now you got to kind of like plan it. It used to be that you could just like with your buddies be like, hey, let's just go to Frank and Sons, and you just show up. Now everything has to be planned. It's like going to Disneyland. Just the parking really stinks. But Frank and Sons is cool. It is something that I take. I don't want to take it for granted, because it's like, I grew up in Florida. There was like nothing like that. Like, there wasn't like a weekly kind of centralized place where you can just find toys. So at this point, I think Frank and Sons is legendary. It's like people that don't even, I'm always surprised, people that don't even live in California, they know about it. It's like a whole thing. So
yeah, because it's weekly, right? Because it's like twice a week or something. It's
like, I think now they have hours. Now they're doing it every day up until Christmas or up until New Year or something. So it's pretty cool.
So just to be clear, for those who may not know about Frank and Sons, it's like a flea market, but all toys, correct?
Yeah.
And it's like in a big warehouse now?
It's a big warehouse. It's a big open space. Basically, it's like they just rented out or they just leased out, like it was a Sam's Club, and now it's just a bunch of booths. And so they have old vintage toys, and then they have like new toys, and they have import toys. The import toy booths are vastly overpriced. Okay, everything there you could find like online for much, much cheaper. But you could pretty much find anything there. Like just everything is, you can find just tons of like Funkos, tons of Barbie, tons of like this old school vintage toys, video games, old video games. If you're like kind of like a video game junkie like me, you can find like, here's old Dreamcast stuff, here's old like Game Boy stuff and things like that. Magic the Gathering. Okay, there you go. They're big on Magic the Gathering. I know nothing about Magic the Gathering, but I go there and people are like into Magic the Gathering, trading cards, Pokemon cards, and all that. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I know when they showed it on Toy Hunter, in one of the episodes there, Jordan got to meet I forgot his name, the singer from the Black Eyed Peas. And they were like hunting like old school LJ and wrestling figures there. And I'm just looking at the whole place going, oh, I wish I could go to Frank and Sons. But
you know what? Funny story about the guy from Black Eyed Peas. I was so stupid. I was at a LA Con or something. And there was, this is how much like I suck with like facial recognition and all that stuff. There was a booth with all these G.I. Joes, all these vintage, it was beautiful. It was just a display booth with glass and all of these G.I. Joes. And this guy comes up to me, starts talking about, oh, you're a fan of G.I. Joes? Yeah. And he's kind of showing me through all of the vintage. He's like, oh, this is all part of my collection and this and that. I'm going through. And in my head, I'm going like, why does this guy have a booth with his collection? Like, none of this is for sale. It's just his collection there. And like, I go through it. And then once I leave, my wife is like, oh, that's cool. That's the guy from Black Eyed Peas. That was the guy giving me the tour. I had no idea. It was like he was in there just showing me all his stuff. And he was like razor focused on me and gave me a exclusive tour. And then once I left, I had to be told that that's the guy. And I felt like shit. I was like,
and he wasn't selling. He's just showing his collection.
It was the weirdest thing ever. He just bought out a booth just to show his vast G.I. Joe collection. It was great, but it was just like, I was like, who does that?
You're talking about Taboo, right? Like this guy?
Yeah, Taboo. Yeah, he did the introduction for the Spirit on Hasbro. But I don't know. I know like 3 celebrities in my life. Like if I see them in real life, like it didn't register.
I'll be honest, I would have had no idea.
And then like later she had to tell me. But yeah, it was the weirdest thing ever. It was like, here's a booth with my collection. Check it out. And that was that. Yeah. So funny story about that guy. I guess not that funny. More
no, it is.
It is kind of funny.
It is pretty funny.
Like, honestly, who does do that? And then I would be so mad if they had something there and it would be like, oh, how much you want for this? Oh, this is just my collection. Then get the fuck out of here.
Meanwhile,
that's my one.
meanwhile, the Black Eyed Peas guy is going to his wife going, I just met Mad Hatter reviews.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm sure the honor was all his. So, yeah.
It's like, can I get a selfie with you? I follow your channel. Sure. It's like, yeah. So I got a photo with this random fan over here. Oh, my God, that's Taboo. Who?
He's like, you know what that guy is? That guy's Mad Hatter. I just got to show him around my booth.
He's like dropping hints. He's like, hey, where's the love for these toys? I was like, I don't.
I would laugh if like you met like a Lincoln.
Black Eyed Peas song.
I would laugh.
Is it? I think it is.
If you met a Linkin Park band member and did the same thing, I would like. Yeah. Well, I'd be in tears laughing.
I can't meet my favorite one, but yes, yeah, that would that would be amazing.
So
he's like, let's get this tour started. I know that's a Black Eyed Peas song.
Yeah.
Okay? He's just dropping hints the whole time. I'm just I don't. I'm just
passive aggressive. Oh my. Yeah. Apparently confirmed that it's a song. So
confirmed. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you.
Yeah. So I was thinking of the same topic and something I passed on that blew up in price later. If you folks remember this, because it's not the thing you would think to collect. The Hot Toys 1/6 Don Vito Corleone Godfather.
That's a beautiful figure.
So like when I looked at it for like less than 200 American back in like the 2000s, I was like, yeah, I don't need it. Then I watched the movies again and I'm like, okay, I need it. You go back on eBay, it's $500, $600, $700, $800 American. Add Canadian exchange, add the shipping Dole was talking about a moment ago, add the import fees. You're kind of like, yeah, maybe this isn't going to happen. So passed on this. I actually didn't think about this one till this morning because I was going through my head about figures I regretted, but then like a lot of the regrets I have are Transformer regrets, and there's enough Transformers collectors in Vancouver who are cycling through their collections who are like, okay, well, I'll sell this to you for like 70% market value. Then you're like, okay, maybe I can make it work. This one I have not found out in the wild to kind of fully rectify or change the regret and get this one back. But what I did do to kind of weasel my way through this a number of years ago is I realized with 1/6 stuff, you can kind of customize things, right? And I did eventually
Ooh.
do something like this. And this isn't exactly the same one because it doesn't have the cat, it doesn't have the details on the vest, it doesn't have all the extra accessories, the extra hands, etc. But what I managed to do was I bought a third-party head online. Like maybe you can see it there. It's not too bad. It's actually pretty good. And this was a challenge for me to put together because I'm not much of a customizer, right? So this is like kind of a kit bash thing for me. Is I tried to get like Hot Toys, like a generic 1/6 body and like a suit, and it made him look too skinny because he's kind of like an older, like pudgier kind of guy. So then I asked around on the internet, and people are like, "Well, why don't you get one of those stuffing suits underneath, and then get the 3-piece suit from the 1/6 Winston Churchill?" Right? And back then, shipping wasn't that bad yet. This was 2014, so I get the
complicated.
But it was complicated, right? I had to get the 3-piece suit from Winston Churchill. I had to get a stuffing suit underneath. I had to get a bunch of other accessories. When I finally got it together, I'm kind of like, well, maybe I should have just paid the price of the and just gotten rid of the headache. Yeah, I still saved money. Like I probably paid less than half of what I would have done. But all the trial and error, and this was just before my kid was born, so I still had a little bit of time to kind of do this. But that's kind of my regret that it's kind of rectified. It's not like I get the cool box. The chair is actually from the Iron Man 3 Mandarin Hot Toys figure.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So which I didn't know. I just bought it at ages 3 and up, and then I was like, it was like $40 for the chair, and I'm like, whatever, I'll just do it. Right. And then eventually I get it, I put it together, and I show it online, and of course all the 1/6 collectors, they know exactly what I did. They're like, oh, that's cool, you got the Winston Churchill suit and the Mandarin chair. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I was trying to be subtle about this, but you 1/6 collectors are crazy. And I got a little irritated because I'm like, oh, you freaking know-it-alls. And I thought, you know what, I do this with Transformers, GI Joe, and wrestling all the time. Somebody shows me something they think is unique, and I'm like, oh cool, you got the variant of the blah, that has the extra thing
on it. Yeah.
Right? So like, I play the know-it-all sometimes too, so I can't exactly hold it against people for doing that to me. But that was my regret that was never fully rectified, but I'll make do because
What is that? What is that? What does the actual Marlon Brando go for?
Well, I looked this morning. It was the lowest one I could find with international shipping, like not even like US shipping, was like $470 US. Right.
Wow.
US, which is bad, but not insurmountable. I mean, especially if you back something like the Eternia, you can afford something.
He comes with the chair. He comes with the whole thing.
Comes with the whole thing. He's got the cat. He's got the rose on the.
Is that a bad price? That actually seems like it's.
So it's come down because some third-party companies have started making more of them. So It's come down. But it used to be like 700, 800, 900 US, and that was like 8 to 10 years ago when we weren't used to spending like pre-inflation and all that. So it's not a bad price anymore.
I think that Hot Toys pricing has changed dramatically. So like it was a couple $100 brand new. Hot Toys are not a couple $100 brand new anymore.
No, they're like 400 now. So
300, 400, right?
Yeah. So that's about 475. It seems if you're a Hot Toys collector, you're like, well, that's just the price of Hot Toys.
I guess that's why I thought,
And it's actually
start instituting some build-a-figures. Okay, maybe that'll help there.
Yeah.
I want the Winston Churchill build-a-figure. That's my next goal. Maybe that would help the medicine. But yeah, I thought because the last Hot Toy, we don't get a lot of Hot Toys here, but my wife got that Mandalorian one with the Grogu. She's like obsessed with everything Grogu, and I think that one was like $350 or something, or $300. It was not cheap.
Right. And Hot Toys also, like, as soon as they go off the site, they go up an extra 100, 200, depending on the character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do they? Okay.
It's kind of like Lego that way. The moment they're off the shelf, the value shoots up.
Dude, Lego is an insanely... My buddy is selling a bunch of Lego, and I'm shocked how well Lego retains value. Like, has like he's not like he didn't buy it to sell. He's just in that phase of his life where he's just like getting rid of stuff, and he has like the Simpsons Lego and all this stuff, and he's like just insane prices that they reach. And he told me, he's like, apparently like Lego doesn't really go down. It just either stays the same or just shoots up, but like you don't lose money on Lego,
Right.
apparently.
It's a new currency, really.
It's a new
Swedish krones.
You go to Denmark, you just trade.
Oh, Denmark, yeah,
You
Danish.
Yeah, you just trade with bricks.
5 triple bricks for that hot dog.
Yeah. That'll cost you
in
six
Bill in
pegs
Denmark,
and
it's
one
an official
4-peg,
currency.
please.
Oh man.
I
Yeah.
sold Lego recently, and it was a thing where like when I was really buying a ton of Lego, because Lego was my gateway back into collecting quite a few years ago now. But when a great set would come out, I'd buy. I was like the guy that was like one in box, one mint on card kind of thing, and one for storage. Like I was buying multiples of sets, and especially if they'd go on sale. And I was just thinking that I was going to build out armies of like, because I was into the Star Wars Lego sets, and I was going to build out armies of like X-Wings and TIE fighters and stuff. Only years later to realize I would never have the space for that.
Sure.
And then when I was looking up values of these sets, I was like, that can't be right. And then I would list them, and people would be like, that's a great price. Can I come get it today? And I was like, you guys are nuts. Like,
Wild.
The thing about Lego, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have the bricks, you can build anything. So when you're buying a set, you're just buying the bricks that you already have to build something. So I got to the point where I had so many pieces that I've just stopped buying sets, because if there's a set I really want to build, I just build it from loose pieces.
You need someone to give you the instructions though if it's a complex build though, right?
No, you don't.
You
They're
can get those all
online.
online.
Yeah, you can find all the instructions online. And yeah,
Okay.
it's the minifigures that are the money in a lot of these things. Just so that same buddy, exactly what you're just saying. In terms of like, just in terms of value, this is wild. He went to Comic-Con and he won. Lego people probably know this, but he won. It was almost like a carded Spider-Man. It was like on a little. It was a Lego minifigure on a little card. It was from the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Okay, he won it. He won it in a raffle at LA Con, and it wasn't like it was. They only made one of them. They made, I don't know, a few hundred of them. And at the time, he was like, oh, he enjoyed it, and then he was like, I'm moving on, and he sold it. Oh my God, he sold this thing for $400. This tiny thing, this little minifigure, and he was regretting that because 2 years later, it was selling for $1,500. And I was like, dude, why would you? First of all, he was kicking himself. I was like, why would you even regret that? He's like, but because he's looking at like the money he could have had.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even think that thing would have sold for $50. If somebody offered me $400, I would drive to, even if they were living in Canada, I would drive over and deliver it to them. And he was like, I could have had $1,500. It's wild. Lego people. And I say Lego people, but I bought Lego. But like, you know what I'm talking about, like Lego,
like Hot Wheels people.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Hot Wheels, like people that
The
you
culture-
see in the morning and they're looking at Hot Wheels.
The collector
They're
culture.
insane.
Yeah.
It's insane amounts of money for this prestige. I guess that's the thing. It's the prestige of this item, right? Because they're not going to open it.
I have an item like that. So when I bought my my Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon a couple years ago when it first came out, and I got the black card for buying it sort of in the time frame, and then they offered a set to people that had bought it in a particular time frame, which is basically another black card with a little minifigure and some random black bricks, and I think it was like $20 or something. And everybody was like, why do I have to pay for this? We're supposed to be perks of buying, the Millennium Falcon, blah, blah, blah. I got to pay for more stuff. Well, I think it was $20 or something like that. And now it's worth like $300. And it's like 30 pieces. And you're just like, I'm definitely going to sell it at some point.
Yeah.
But it's because to me, that's bonkers. Owning that doesn't make any sense at that point, because it's I don't collect for value. I buy things that I really like and that I really want. And so it's sort of like, if somebody really wants that more than me, then I'm more than happy to facilitate that, especially if I could put that much cash back into my collection by buying other stuff.
You know, when I thought of this topic, I didn't even explore the Lego angle, and now that you mention it,
it's wild.
Like there's a whole nother space out there, and like Dole said, it's like Hot Wheels. Almost said Hot Toys, Hot Wheels collectors. There's a whole like subculture within that toy space, toy culture, that makes that has a certain mindset and a certain mentality. And if you're not used to that mindset, it's like all the repaints. Like whenever people complain about like G.I. Joe classified repaints, which they have every right to do. But when I've spent my whole life, every time something like this comes out and I go, okay, I need Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp. What's a repaint? I'm not encouraging toy companies to do it, but when you're desensitized to it and somebody goes, oh, another repaint of Snake Eyes, and I'm kind of like, I'd like another figure too. But,
I love Snake Eyes though. I'll take every version that
that's the thing, right? I'm like, like within that toy subculture, I'm kind of like, but I kind of expected them to do that, and people like you like that, right?
So I could list off all the versions that I still want in classified.
Okay,
like there's still like 30 versions of Snake Eyes that I would love in 6-inch scale.
Fair enough.
Ninja Force Zartan.
Yes,
that's the one.
Cold Slither. Cold Slither Zartan. Yes.
Ninja Force Scarlet, Ninja Force Storm Shadow, Ninja Force Snake Eyes, Nunchuck.
All the Eco Warriors and the Drug Elimination Force. I want all them narcs.
Yep.
Give them all to me.
All of them.
And if they're going to do like, I wish sometimes Hasbro, like they always talk about how now like they cater to the adult collector with the 6-inch series line. So if you're going to do Drug Elimination Force, have them come with drugs. I want to see bags of cocaine as accessories. Like,
I almost spit my coffee out, Dole. Like I almost did that on camera. I'm like, I gotta be careful who I.
Give us that. Like, if we're gonna go that far, let's do it. Same with Eco Warriors, all that kind. Like, it's weird. I always have that soft spot for those really weird Joes. But yeah, I would be all for that if they did some of the '90s stuff with some of the '90s colors. What is it? Deep Six with the fluorescent orange helmet.
Yeah,
like a coral. Yeah, and absolutely.
Like, I would love to see stuff like that, but at the same time too, there's still, like you said, Adam, like there's so many characters we would still want to see first.
Oh, for sure.
The characters that we are getting now, like Outback, looks amazing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do whatever I can to stay away from.
The Tiger Force, the Tiger Force one, yeah.
I went crazy. Here's a regret. I went crazy on G.I. Joe 40th anniversary, 30th anniversary, 40th.
No, wait,
25th.
25th, and then they did a 50th.
25th, yeah.
So and then they did a 50th. Yeah.
And the line, they just made up years
because it those.
Yeah.
And now I've got like so many, I've got no place to put them. But then I try to do the Mary Kondo thing, and I dig them out, and I go, well, I can't get rid of this snow job.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but if they make a 6-inch snow job, right? I'd love it if they did like even a Pulse exclusive 6-inch stalker with his kayak.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like just
that would be a deluxe. They would do a deluxe set.
I could honestly see that coming out in the next year.
I see that coming too. Yeah. That's got to be on deck.
It's such an iconic figure. Everybody had that figure. I assume everybody had it because everybody that I've ever talked to has mentioned that figure and referenced it and how much they love it. But yeah, the kayak with the little machine gun mounted on it, and I mean,
well, after looking at Serpentor, right, and
so good.
You can now do these smaller vehicles, and like even if I would love if they did more smaller vehicles as well, just to look like I'm trying my best not to dive into it. Like I think if I got Barbecue, who was like my first Joe, I think it would have been game over. I think I just would have like fell down that rabbit hole and broke every bone on the way down.
So you can do what your buddy Craig did: get into the line, get out of the line, get back in.
Yeah, like I've got a few. Like I have a Zartan, I have a Baroness and Destro and stuff, but it was like I had to like even then just like nope, stop, because Joe's. To me personally, Joe's can be a very, very, very addictive collection. Like if they're going to do they're my drug elimination force, right? Because you get one and then that's it. It's game over.
So on that topic of regrets, we'll flip the script and go back to you on this one, Dole. You ever sell anything and then, or get rid of it or trade it and then regret it later and wish you got it back?
See, yes.
Okay.
My battle beasts.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
And it was one of those things too, where it was like, it's not that I think about it right away because I've slowly been getting them back here and there. So it's not like it's something that but because it was like the topic was regrets, you had to kind of, I knew this question was coming. So I was trying to like be somewhat prepared. But I think Battle Beasts was losing my Battle Beasts was probably and I don't even know if I traded them or what happened, but they're just gone.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
When your memory of where did they go is like, maybe they're somewhere in the house. Maybe my parents still have them. Like, when you start chasing the item that you can't remember selling, so you're
chasing ghosts.
Yeah, you're just chasing ghosts because they're long gone. They've probably been gone for 20 years. But you're like, but I don't remember where they went. So there's still a chance that they're still somewhere.
One will pop up. That reindeer with the drill arm will all of a sudden show up.
I probably every 6 months or so, I ask my parents, "Are you sure there's no more bins of my stuff at your house?" And they're like, "Yeah, there hasn't been for 20 years." And I'm like, "So you're sure?" And I'm like, because I feel like this thing may still be around somewhere.
Yeah. But I think Battle Beast's probably my biggest one. And then on top of that too, like even just trying to rebuy them, like they're small figures and they go from anything from, 15 to 100.
Yeah.
And the play sets, as I really want that shark play set. I've always wanted the shark play set that opens up and there's the waterfall and the jail and everything. And that thing, that was at Toy Traders. I don't know if it still is. And it was like $300. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I can stomach
swing
that
in on this one
when I can go get, a hot toy Darth Maul.
$300 gets you a whole lot of Power of the Force figures to fill out your cantina.
It gets me a lot of senators that I've been collecting.
Yeah, exactly.
Volume or something you really like?
You know what? I always go for volume because ultimately, like at the end of the day, you get that one piece that's really expensive, and then you kind of go, well, now I still need the other 23, right?
Right.
When you're like, especially that was sorry, I didn't finish your answer, and then I'll
roll no, that's it. Go.
Take the floor, Adam. Take the floor.
My sort of thing for like what I've sort of sold off and what I've missed, like, when I got back into toys, all I wanted to get was I just wanted to replace the things that I remembered having, like the most important figures, sort of, and there was sort of, a dozen GI Joes and a few, Ninja Turtles and I'd only kept probably a dozen toys from my childhood. I had an original Lion-O, Mumra, that really articulated Toy Biz Spider-Man, a G1 Optimus Prime, and just like a handful of other things. And so I really wanted to sort of get some of the things that I didn't have. So those vintage Joes, some turtle stuff, some more, like a couple more, Thundercats, a couple more Transformers, a couple more, but what happened for me, at least with G.I. Joe, and this is the thing that this is sort of what I regret, right? I have a tendency, like you sort of said with classified figures, Dole, like I have a really hard time just having a couple. For me, I gotta build out that whole world, right? Like if it's G.I. Joe and I'm thinking of a cartoon, and I have the cartoons on DVD that I watch with my kids, so like I think about like, oh, I got to get these figures because this team was in this episode, and then before you know it, your dozen figures that you were gonna get to replace what you had as a kid is now, well, I may as well get all the figures that I wanted as a kid, and I've got 120 instead of 12. And you're just like, I don't have space for this. And I don't even have like a nostalgic attachment to tons of these. But what I've been doing with G.I. Joe as the classified figures come out, and I'm unapologetic in saying that I love the classified, and I think they are objectively the best G.I. Joe line that they've ever done. So what I'm doing is effectively documenting like the vintage and the modern with the classified figure, and then I feel like I've documented that I've owned it, and I still own like a picture of it, and so I can sell the vintage and I can sell the modern, keep the classified, and then that way I kind of have like a, because if it's just gonna go in a bin, a picture will do. You know, if it's going to get tucked away and I'm never going to look at it until I think 10 years from now, like, where did I put that thing? What's the point of owning it? That's sort of my thing.
Is it better to own it though? I didn't mean to cut you off there, but like I haven't seen my Terror Drome since I put it in storage in almost 4 years. And I'm thinking it's time to haul that thing out to do like a, I don't like calling it a review, because it's like, what's the point in me reviewing I guess it's a review, but I'm thinking about doing some. There you go, like a retrospective / review.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel you there. Most collectors
if you're not
feel that way.
enjoying it, just slip into my DMs and drop me a price. Let me know about that Terror Drome.
And I'll make you pay shipping, even though I could just leave it on my front porch for you to pick it up.
Walk it over.
Like, well, I got him on the shipping, and then Ken goes out and buys a Defiant.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry about that.
That's another one too. I was thinking of. I know this is going off topics of regrets, but I was thinking as soon as they did that Sky Striker, I think this is also probably completely out of the realm of a HasLab just because of the size of it. But a HasLab 3.75 scale Defiant, like a new one with new details and stuff, would be, whew.
Expensive
as well. But like so unreal that I don't think it would ever happen. It's definitely a pipe dream. HasLab.
Well, if you recall, when you go upstairs at Toy Traders, they have a bunch of them that they haven't sorted yet. They put them, for people who haven't been to that part of Toy Traders, if you go upstairs to the dark side area, or they call it the dark side area, where they put all the vintage stuff, they've got above their displays a whole bunch of Defiants that are just sort of hanging there ingloriously. And then I asked, like, 7-8 years ago, what are you going to do with those? Oh, we'll piece them together and we'll sell them. I asked a year ago, what are you going to do with them? Same answer. I asked 3 months ago, oh yeah, no time. I'm like, so you're sitting on like half a dozen or more Defiants. It's just like that. Sorry, Adam, do you want to finish that story? You go ahead.
Oh no, I'm here for the next 3 hours. We'll I mean, if there's anything else, it'll come back up.
It's all good. Hatter waiting patiently. You got something to share with us?
I'm just listening to all these regrets. It's okay.
This is just group therapy. This is
group therapy.
Toy therapy. We move from toy anxiety to toy therapy.
Yes. Sorry, all of a sudden I had a brain fart. In terms of we're saying stuff that we've sold, right? That
gotten rid of, and then you kind of wish you had back.
Okay, so I mean, I have I think the one that I missed the most is I used to have the Silverhawks Skyrunner.
Okay.
And my mom got it for me. It was on my birthday, and I don't know whether it just got. It's like one of those like childhood mystery things. Like where did this go? Why don't I have it? I don't even know. I can't. Maybe it got given away or something. But I've tried over the years to see if I can hunt one down. I've always hesitated on the price because they're up there, and I kind of want one in box. So at some point, maybe, I don't know, I go that route. There's a few other. What are some other ones? Most recently, just to show, I should never gamble because my instincts are really stupid. Is that when Mattel released that Origins 2-pack with the Prince Adam and the He-Man. Remember, it was like an SDCC exclusive. It came in this Castle Grayskull box set. And I had it. I got it at Comic-Con. And then I was like, yeah, you know, this Origins line, I don't know if it's going to take off. I don't know if I want to get stuck at this thing. I'd rather just like, hey, this to show how dumb I am. And I just sold it. And now I'm kind of like, I'm probably going to have to get that back at some point and just eat the cost or whatever, because I'm all in now on Origins. So that was definitely a recent regret. I had a bunch of the Mondo Ninja Turtles, which are beautiful. They're still the Mirage style Ninja Turtles. I don't know, I sold those. It's people also got to remember, like, we go through phases in our life where we have just no money. You know what I mean? Like we're all kind of like adults now. I mean, you guys are all Canadian, so money just flows freely. But here in like the States, it's like, I don't know, we just go through those phases in our life where it's just like so I don't know if it's a regret when you like need to eat and pay rent and stuff. So at the
Very
time I was
valid
like,
point.
I had those Mondo turtles and I was like, look, times are hard. Like now, thankfully, it seems like we're all sort of like in a better place in our life where it's just like, how much do I have in my bank account? But like, so it is a regret, but it's a justifiable regret. But yeah, it's like those Mondo turtles, I still miss those things. And I had all the exclusive ones, and it was like, they look great on a shelf. Every time somebody would come over, they would pinpoint those. They'd be like, what are those turtles? So yeah. But you can always get them back, I guess. Or if you're in a better place, you can get them back. But so I try not to regret that stuff too much. But those are definitely ones that those are the ones that came to mind.
On that point, Hatter, too, I gotta just chime in and say, we part of the reason that I'm comfortable selling stuff now, as I've sort of matured and sort of learned some lessons about collecting, we live in a world where like we're all in Facebook groups that cater to all these lines that we're passionate about and that we love, and we all have these toy connections where we can reach out to people and be like, hey, have you seen this thing? Like I'm trying to track this down. Like I think I'm ready to buy this item that I know is crazy price, but they're all out there and they're all accessible for the right price. So that's kind of where now when I sell something, it's I don't feel like it's gone forever. Like I know that if I needed to, and I use that term very loosely, I could get it back if I really wanted it back. What I've realized is that so my rule is like, if it comes up at retail and I want it, I buy it. And if I change my mind after, I can always sell it, because I don't like buying off the aftermarket. But the aftermarket is there. And because it's there, I think that's what helps me sleep at night, is that ultimately I could go out and get these things that I've bought and sold again.
Sure. If you could, if you could just reconcile the idea that you might have to pay more, which sometimes it's not that bad. I mean, then you're right. It's like the world. I'm still fascinated that in our lifetime there used to be a time where it's like you would go into like a comic shop and you would see like some vintage Star Wars toy, and that was the only time you would ever be able to get that toy.
Yeah.
Because how else are you going to find it? So, but yeah, you're right. It's like now everything is connected, and should you be missing something, you can always do it. That does help me too. Where it's just like, down the line, especially now, like toy prices are so high, the margin between what you can get it for at retail and what you can get in the aftermarket, I think is going to shrink to nothing, because I mean, out the gate you're paying 30, 35, 40 for something. So yeah, you're right.
First off, that you're right. The gap between what you're paying now at retail, because retail keeps going up, the aftermarket, like that gap isn't no longer going to be 3 times what it once was. So hopefully, I don't know, like, is that good? Is that bad? Because now you're paying more at retail, but you don't have regrets later if you FOMO it. I mean, when I thought of this question, I had to put some skin in the game. If you look at the thumbnail, 2 of my regrets are right there. Because the first question, I was like, well, I regret, but I've got this other Godfather right here, which is going to fill the void, and I don't have to store this big, huge box that I have no room for. But Marvel Legends Sentinel, I used to army build them, and by army build, I mean I had 4 of them as of 2015. The Toy Biz version. For whatever reason, I just like that version. Was never tempted by the HasLab one, but when I had 4 of them, and it was to the point where like I walked into a comic shop, like Hatter was saying, and someone went and dropped it off, basically left it with the store owner, and I go to the store owner. I'm like, I'm buying that before I leave. And he's like, I haven't priced it. I haven't looked it up. I'm like, I'm buying it before I leave. And these opportunities would come up when in 2015 to the money issue that was brought up. We moved into this place, and of course, bigger mortgage. My kid was born. So I had a freak out, started selling stuff. So I sold all 4 Marvel Legends Sentinels on Craigslist for like a quarter market value. Like I put it like so low, and I got like 10 messages when I woke up in the morning, and the first guy was like ready to meet me like right then and there. So I sold all 4 of them for like the price of what I paid for like one of them, right? So a bit of a regret. So now if I ever want to get one again, I'll always have that memory, right?
Yeah.
And the other one is the Scare Glow, because I wasn't collecting Masters of the Universe. I mean, I've got some classics figures you can see down here, but as I started to like look at the Origins line, and somebody made me a Motu figure of me, like they gifted one to me on last week's stream. Thank you, Adam. Different Adam from Go Figure. Both good channels, by the way. I sold a Scare Glow because, you know, some of you, like Dole, you've seen my booth at the toy shows. I'll often buy a collection, keep a couple pieces that I need that are hard to find, sell the rest. I've twice now over the last 5 years, nothing in the last few years, Scare Glow complete cape, weapon, and everything has come through my collection. Both times I sold Scare Glow for $90 Canadian. 90 Canadian, so about 70 US. What's he worth now? About 400 Canadian, something like that. So if I ever, every time I think about going into Masters of the Universe, I think, okay, you had the chance to get Scare Glow. You've had him through your collection twice. Now you're gonna have to buy him for more than the price that you of both of the times you sold him. It just, the math doesn't work for me. So that's one of the reasons I'm hesitating to ever go back to like vintage Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things about being like a makeshift toy seller, ongoing toy seller as well, is that you end up with regrets like this, because like you buy thinking, oh, I can fund the rest of my collection, but then you get stuff and you're like, oh, should I keep this? Nah. You want it later? Too bad. Right. Yeah. So I might rectify the Marvel Legends Sentinel one, because I can more easily justify that I hit desperation mode, even though I wasn't that desperate, but I felt desperate. Right? Like, oh, that was then. This is a new Ken. But the Ken that sold the 2 Scare Glows is the Ken you're talking to right now. So I can't get over that mental hurdle, right? It's the whole.
It is hard sometimes to let go of the math.
Yes.
Like of the math in your head in terms of like the money spent versus, oh, I don't know. I kind of look at it like you're a gambler and you just have to accept that losses are just part of the, you know, just part of the game. When I do, if and when I do buy any of the things that I had sold before, it will definitely be at a cumulative loss. But I think, you know, at some point you just have to just swallow that and say, I don't know, like, yeah, you just, I guess it just has to outweigh the nostalgia, or how much you want that piece just has to outweigh whatever the hell you lost when you sold it at first, or when you missed out on it, or, you know, that, or that weird, you know, oh, but because I get that a lot, where I see something and now it's like $70 over, and I keep on going, but I could have got it for $20 over, and like I didn't, and now I will. So I don't know. At some point, me wanting the thing just wins out, or it doesn't.
Yeah. Otherwise, that's how you get regrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what a regret is.
Well, you know what? Like, the one I was going to bring up was 12 years ago. I went to BotCon when it was still around, like before it became TFCon, or before TFCon took over the Transformer scene. And I saw a rare, I mean, you can find the modern version of Transformers Galaxy Shuttle now in stores. I found a vintage one in BotCon in 2010. And it was complete. And I think the seller wanted $200 or $210 US for it, which was very, very cheap at the time, right? And I always forgive myself for it, because I was looking for something else. I saw it. I said, I might circle the floor and come back. When I circled the floor, someone had bought it, right?
Yeah.
Never saw it
30
again.
stories that are exactly that. I circled the floor and then it was gone. You need to learn
Basically,
to
yeah.
buy things when you see them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So last week, my friend Jeff, who sells me all of his like the rare Transformers that he's done with because he found a nicer box. I've told the story of Jeff many times. Like he's got like a museum quality collection, and all my rare Transformers are his rejects. Right.
Yeah.
Literally his rejects. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I paid a few hundred for that, but it's his reject because he has a mint box one with all the paperwork and unapplied stickers. So I took his mid box one, which has applied stickers and a bit of yellowing, but I'll take it because I don't want to pay $1,000 for the one he has. Right. But last week he sourced me one. He was like, you know that story you told me you regret? I found a Galaxy shuttle for, I think it was like just under 300. And I'm like, you know what? Speaking of like Hatter was saying, $20 or $70 over, I'm like, that's still like 60% of market value. I'm going to have to jump on this. Like I just instinctively bought it. So sometimes the regrets come back and you get that chance because otherwise I would have had to pay like twice that value, right? Of what I originally saw it for. So
yeah. I get, by the way, I get my regrets a lot of times come from my biggest regrets, and I have to let go of this, is when I pay over market value on something and then it gets like re-released or something.
Yeah.
Or like I remember back in the day that you guys know that spider gremlin, the Neca spider gremlin.
Yep.
It's a beautiful figure, and my wife really wanted it, and I paid over market value. I think I paid like 100 and something for it, and then NECA just released them for retail, and those irk me more than the thing that I sold, where I paid over market, and then hey, we released it again. I try not to get irked by it because I just try to think about like, well, there are people that probably wanted it the first time that didn't get it, and now they're waiting. So I'm trying to be like, in my head, be like Mr. Nice Guy and like, no, that's the right thing to do. But it still bothers me that that I jumped the gun. So those are more of my regrets come from I overpaid for something on the aftermarket just for it to be re-released or for it to just plummet. So yeah.
Well, look at all the Cobra Island, all you Joe classified collectors know the Cobra Island stuff, right? You know, I sourced 2 Vipers for way over market value.
I told you not to.
You told me not to.
You said you bought them for over market value?
Like triple market value from I think it might have been Chosen Prime. I'm not sure. Adam said don't. Oh yeah, triple retail. Sorry, not triple market value. I probably bought it for under market value for the time for the secondary market. Adam was like, you don't want to do that. 1 3-pack later, which I wanted to get because of the officer. Should have listened, right? There are many times Adam tells me something and I don't listen, and then he's like, it's okay, Ken, we're still friends.
And
right?
Yet you have way more people that watch your show than mine, so I don't know how that works. I'm the one with the sound advice. You're telling me all this.
Well, we got 44 people.
I make all these mistakes all the time.
By the way, that's the part that hurts the most, is a friend that goes, I told you not to do that. That's part of the that's part of what makes it sting so bad.
One thing that I absolutely love is knowing that I've told somebody that, and them knowing that I've told them that, but not saying anything.
Ooh.
So that when
until you get the chance on a live stream and the person calls themselves out in public, and then you're like, Ken, you pulled your own pants down. I'm just going, ha ha.
I stack them up and I just wait until it's going to have the most impact.
Well, speaking of people watching, we got 45 people watching. Wonder if we need to set a like goal, and if we do, what do we do? Does Dole get to do like a wrestling promo impression if we get a certain like goal?
Oh my gosh, you can't put me on the spot like that. I gotta
I like that as a goal.
Well, I always told Craig if he shows up, I need to play the because his last name's Goldberg, right? We need to play the Goldberg WCW chant if he ever comes on. So he's supposed to be on in the new year sometime in 2023. So when I say 2023, it could be January, it could be December. But I told him if we ever get you on, that would be your wrestling impression. I don't think he's gonna come out and do the Goldberg pose and spear me through the camera. Yeah. Sorry, where were we going with this?
Yeah. I think it was like goals.
Yeah. No, let's not set a like goal. Otherwise someone will expect something from us. Okay,
But
50
everyone
likes.
should just
Somebody
like
mentioned-
this video. If you're watching this and you haven't liked it, why haven't you? You're right here anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why
like
doesn't
it.
everybody just like the video that you're on the live stream? What's
Because
going on
it
with
goes
that?
on to a playlist of previously liked videos, but I never checked that playlist anyway. So
You know
Oh,
what
is
I
that
think?
what it
it
does?
is? I think the watch people can be watching this not logged in. I think that's
Mm.
what people kind of
Mhm.
sometimes forget, right? Is that
Oh,
you could
okay.
you could just be watching this at work, not logged in, or
That's
like
true.
while you're driving.
Yes.
or something.
because
Like,
if you're watching on like a TV or something, or if you're driving, like I've, like there are times I'll have dinner and I'll be listening to sad comments from Toy Anxiety because it's dinner time, and I'll conspicuously just put one earbud on and I'm not in the chat, right?
Mm.
Speaking of
That's no excuse. Even when I'm driving, at the risk of my family and everyone on the road, I will like. My eyes are right on the screen liking things. So, guys, come on.
all
I'm
right,
gonna agree with
one eye on the road, one eye on the
Yeah,
pressing like
not
it's
even one eye on the road. I just sense other cars in front of me. I don't need to look at the road.
two things.
How
I
good I
think you
am.
could probably ask your wife to hit the like button for you.
Damn it.
But also, I mean, if you're like, here's my question: if you're watching all these videos every week, right, and you know, why don't you have an account? Subscribe to these things. Hit the like button. Comment.
I've had people say to me, I love your channel, but I'm not subscribed because I don't have a Gmail account. I'm like, okay. And
get one. What?
mic
what's-
drop? Like what? So
we live in the future, man. Get
Yeah.
a Gmail account just for YouTube and just
Yeah.
never check it like me. I think I have like 3 Gmail accounts. I use them for like spam stuff. When I buy something at a store and they're like, "What's your email?" and I'm like, "It's this."
So I mentioned Mega J earlier, and he shows up. So,
He's
yeah,
probably just woken up too because he
That's-
was going hard last night. So
he was the worstest one. I've had him get up at like 11:30 his time, and not realizing he probably streamed till 3:30 in the morning his time. So the man is a trooper. So I always told him,
because I thought, isn't it like when a toy tuber in Canada goes up, it's like a bat signal where all the other Canadians just circle around for support, or is that not?
Yeah, toying
No,
around
that-
will show up from like
No.
the
Kevin's
Northern
Toying Around will
Lights.
show
That's
up
it.
and-
It turns on the Northern Lights, and
Oh, it turns
everybody
on
just
the-
knows.
you have been summoned. So
You have been summoned, Mega J.
basically.
all the mooses call out, and the Northern Lights
I
switches
like that.
on, and then
So cinematic.
oh, I gotta go. Somebody's streaming live.
Somebody's streaming live there, eh? I heard the moose call coming down there from the north side east.
Fun fact, and I know that a lot of American YouTubers have. I've been teased for this. I'm pretty sure Dole, you have as well. Ken, you probably have as well. Fun fact: it is officially National Maple Syrup Day today. So
Ooh,
let the punchlines flow.
but that's not every day, right?
Well,
It's a
fun
lot.
fact, it is every day.
Some of us. For some of us, it's Maple Syrup Day every day.
I don't want to say Happy Maple Syrup Day, and then Adam's like, but that's every day. So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's the Canadian equivalent to Valentine's Day.
okay,
Yeah.
But we still have a Valentine's Day.
this is expensive.
Extra reason to spend. All right. So as we go around the table, have you ever bought a toy out of pure FOMO, fear of missing out? All right. The look on Dole's face means he's either going first or last.
Last, because I'm trying to think, because I'm usually pretty self-aware of when the FOMO hits and whether or not I'm going to, like, I need that because it was like you see everyone else getting hyped about it. I'm pretty self-aware of what I want and how to stay in my own lane. I'm trying to think.
That's okay.
Yeah, I can't
That's
think of
totally
anything right
totally
off the
okay
bat.
because that was, like it's a hard one to answer. But Hatter, what about? Well, let's go counterclockwise this time. Hatter, you got one for us?
I'm trying to think. Well, I know back in the day when I was like a kid, I mean, a teenager, however old I was, when the Power of the Force stuff
Yeah.
was
Just one sec.
strong. I don't know why I fell into, because I'm kind of like Dole, where it's just like I kind of know the stuff that I want, but I got sucked into the whole stupid lightsaber. The lightsaber's longer on the power of the Force versus
The variant ones,
the variant
Oh,
one. I don't
yeah.
know why. I just remember paying
and
too
they're
much
too
money.
long.
Huh?
They're too long.
Yeah, they were too long. The
Yeah.
whole thing looks stupid anyway. Like, why would you have a lightsaber that's the size of you, Darth Vader?
Swole Darth Vader with a 2 times the length lightsaber.
Yeah, twice the size. And I bought one of those. I think I bought it at a comic shop. I can't for the life of me remember what I bought it for, but it was such a stupid FOMO purchase, and it's still on my wall back home in my childhood home.
Awesome.
And like I look at that thing and I was like, it's just dumb. Just a dumb, has to be a FOMO purchase, has to be influenced by that. Luckily, I don't think there's anything since. I'm trying to remember if there's anything since then. I mean, I talked about that Spider Gremlin, but that wasn't FOMO. That was like I wanted it and I missed out on it.
Right.
I had a stint where I was collecting stupid Funkos because I was like so enchanted by them. Maybe that's like FOMO, because I'm sure there have been a few where it's like, oh my God, I got to get them. But I ended up selling them off. So I don't know. I think that's the only thing that I could think of. I just keep going to the power of the Force, the dumb long lightsaber that I just regret. That's probably it right there. So
what about because this is where mine comes from, and it's recent. What about like limited releases or exclusives, or like stuff that pops up online and you're like, well, if I don't get it now, I'm not going to get it, or it's going to be crazy expensive, and then you order it and then you go, did I only order that because of the hype around this is going to be hard to get later?
That's definitely a thing. I'm trying to. I'm kind of like Dole in the sense of like I usually know the thing that I want, and I don't feel myself getting. It's very hard to influence me to get something if I don't want to get it. I like my money, so I'm really trying to think. I probably should have prepped for this. I other than that, I'm trying to think of like a recent I got this just because of the swirling hype around it.
Yeah, there's even like when you were talking about like FOMO and stuff, like when a HasLab hits, and like the His Tank, for instance, the Sky Striker, Galactus, I never got any of those. And there was that moment of like, oh, am I going to regret not getting these? And that even with people doing their unboxings of Galactus, what I think is an absolute beautiful toy, I don't feel bad not getting it because again, I'm in space danger. I have the Sentinel, which is like X-Men is like my number one when it comes to Marvel Legends. So to have the Sentinel is more important to me. All
Can
that.
we talk about the blue and yellow X-Men? That's not a regret. I'm really excited those are coming.
Oh
we'll
my
leave
gosh.
that for later. Dole, I know that you love them and I love them too. But anyway.
Yeah.
So where did we leave off? Because I unfortunately my bladder was whining at me. So Hatter I think had his story, and did somebody else follow up with a story, or are we still going counterclockwise? Yeah, I know it was a bit conspicuous.
I got back into. I'd been saying for a long time that I wouldn't, but I was kind of not bullied into it, but I was very lovingly encouraged to get back into Turtles. And I
do I know the person who lovingly encouraged you?
You do.
Okay. All right. Cool.
But I was like, okay, well, I got to pick one line. I got to stick to that line. So I decided to go with the Super 7 Ultimates because they have kind of the most nostalgia. Plus, they're better than the vintage ones. But then I was like, but if I have these, it's pretty cool to have the vintage ones to sort of show that progression. And then I'm like, but I don't have anything that's cartoon accurate. So I'll just get that Turtles in Disguise 4-pack. And then Black Friday, Neca's like, well, we're going to re-release the Secret of the Used Turtles. And I was like, well, the movie Turtles, I mean, that pretty much rounds out. And then I was like, well, if I get the Secret of the Used ones, I'm already ordering something and I'm paying the shipping. So, I've got the cartoon Turtles. I'll get the Bebop and Rocksteady 2-pack because, all the reviews say it's a fantastic. So I knew what I was ordering. So it's not so much like FOMO as it is like the things that I've been talking about. Like it's cheapest to buy it at retail if I ever decide I want this later. But there's still that little half a thought of like, yeah, but do you need it?
Yeah. Well, see, I think it's funny
Yeah,
you talk
yeah,
about the turtles and stuff and like the NECA stuff, because I'm big into the Archie comic style
Yeah.
of the turtles. Like,
I've resisted them so far.
yeah, oh no,
It'll
I'm
get
totally
harder.
get it. I've got Slash on pre-order. I am getting those. That is, to me, when people talk about like their favorite version of the turtles, to me it's the Archie comics ones.
Yeah.
It's just who I am as a human being. I apologize for not loving the 80s cartoon as much as most people. But now it's like this is where I feel like this could become a later regret, because the 80s style turtles and the Archie style turtles are so similar. Should I have bought the 80s animated Krang, Shredder, Bebop and Rocksteady, and the Turtles to go with
To
the
fit in
Archie
with
style Slash Ray Fillet, you know, like, but again too, like, is this now? I'm now playing like this weird like game of chicken with NECA, and
Wrong company to do it with, but carry on.
I should just ask Trevor one day, just straight up, like, dude, are you doing these, or do I, or what's going on? Because there are always those slight differences in the style, right, in the heads.
Yeah.
But it's like, I do feel like I'm playing chicken with NECA. Like, are you doing this? Are you doing it?
I do think, for what it's worth, though, that line is so healthy that they will do those anyway. Like they'll do like the Archie versions of the stuff you're talking about anyway. So and they'll probably even do redos of the cartoon ones too at some point. Just because they make.
Because you always have to have the turtles out at some point, right?
Yeah.
They did those last Ronin figures, which I didn't order. But you know, every review, including yours, Hatter, that I've seen is just raving about them. My reluctance with NECA is the QC stuff. And like I said, I buy everything because it's a toy. It gets played with by my kids and by me as well, admittedly. So I don't want something that's gonna, you know, have an elbow fall apart or have a foot fall off or whatever. But everybody's also said that thing's just durable and rugged. So the last Ronin figures are on my list. And then when they sort of showed was it Comic-Con when they revealed more that they're doing?
Yeah, they're doing like all the brothers. Yeah.
I was like, well, you know, I don't like one or two of a thing, but I like a whole line. So I guess I'll get into those.
Yeah. The Playmates last Ronin is actually really nice too.
I've heard that.
It surprised me how I don't know. I took a look at it. I was so taken by it. I was like, wait a minute, Playmates is making me feel things that hasn't happened in a long time.
There's a charm.
That's what I wish Playmates would do, though.
Yeah.
I wish Playmates would make new toys in the old stuff. I sound like a broken record. I feel like I say it every Toy Anxiety. Just you know, I just want new toys in the old style. It's like
an Origins model.
Like an Origins model. Or even just like a Star Wars like retro. You know, because they're doing new figures in the old style. They don't necessarily need the articulation. I just want the look. Because I mean, if 70s kids can still get new Mego figures that look like Mego figures, cater to me too. A 40-year-old white male collector, damn it.
and it's not like they don't need the support right now.
Right.
Playmates is on their last leg at this point. They don't know what to do internally. So,
but it's interesting that like Playmates is a good example because you know, Mattel's doing the Origins line where there's you know, increased articulation, but in what is effectively the same figure. But Playmates, no, I'm thankful that Playmates keeps putting out those classic turtles because I you know, to get all those pieces for the vintage ones, it's cheaper to just buy the new one.
Yeah.
You know, that comes out once a year or once every 2 years. But the Playmates last Ronin figure has the articulation that I want in those retro figures, right? It has the, you know, the elbows, the shoulders, the knees. It doesn't have to have 87 points of articulation. just give me knees and elbows so that I can pose it a little bit more.
Pretty much everything you need.
Yeah. Well, this guy's on my desk, and like people kind of complain about like, oh, the articulation in the Super 7's not perfect. No, it's not, but I don't care. It poses perfectly for what I want to do with it. It's not Spider-Man. I don't need him to get into like a crazy crunched pose and whatever.
Hanging from the ceiling with the web.
Yeah, I need enough articulation that it's an upgrade.
Yeah.
And then I'm happy. It's like Dole said, I want updates of the old stuff. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we're not going to put it out because it doesn't have, a butterfly joint in the shoulder. I'm like, that's a plus, that's a bonus, but I think we have such a high standard of sort of what, and I guess it's maybe it's the company's own faults for sort of engineering some of these figures so incredibly well that we now want every figure to move like a Mafex Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Well, I think now that's the progression, right? Like Super 7 and Neca have made very aesthetically pleasing statuettes. Like even that Raphael you brought up, I was like, that's a beautiful figure.
Yeah.
But now when, the age of Mafex and like all of these import toys that I just have articulation where I was like, you can articulate in that place. Yeah. I think now somebody inevitably will make, I don't know who it's going to be, but somebody inevitably will make Ninja Turtles that can really be articulated. Revoltech had some really articulated
the
Ninja
2012
Turtles
ones, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the 2012 style. Those are
from
really
the back, those joints look funky.
Are you talking about the classics or no?
No, they're
okay.
Revoltech. They look like the 2012 CGI animated turtles. Yes. And they look great from the front, and the articulation is fantastic. But the articulation from the back, you can see that they're like ball joints. Like it looks from some angles.
Everything. It's very exposed. It kind of reminds me of like Storm Collectibles, like very articulated. But like if you catch it from an angle, you're like seeing like the skeleton in the. But that's the only thing I could think of right now in terms of turtles. That it's like you could do everything with those. I mean, those are almost Spider-Man level. But somebody will probably, but that's the 2012 version. Somebody will come around. Some hero will rise at some point and make like the definitive articulated, you could do everything with these and we'll just, I don't know, either spend
and
money
we'll just
on
buy
that
them.
And we'll buy them all.
Because that's what we do. Yeah.
And we'll be on this show again as a part 2.
Yes, we'll be,
part 2. Exactly. Speaking of which, did you think of a Fomo, a good Fomo Dole, or is this a pass?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
It's
all good.
Fomos.
It's all good.
I had a Fomo that turned into
FOMO in people.
a selling regret. I FOMO'd on that green Granomir that was a PowerCon exclusive. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah, the classics one. Yeah,
classics, because I already had the red Granomir. But I was just like, I don't know, PowerCon, I was like, oh, but this is an exclusive. And then I had it. And then I was like, I don't know if I need another one. And then I sold it. And then I missed it. So it was like a FOMO purchase that turned into regretting selling it because I had it on display with the red one. And then when I sold it, I was like, man, that was such a nice figure. I wish I could have both. And now at some point I'll have to try to find it.
The whole spectrum in one item.
Exactly.
You got it all. You knocked it all. You knocked it all out of the park, right? Yeah, circle of life. I bought the second release of G.I. Joe Classified Duke out of pure FOMO. Like if you look at the one on the left there, just to fill a gap, because I didn't like the first one with all the metallic stuff. So I bought that. Wasn't thrilled with it, but I figured Duke is too important. I loved it after, and I made a video about this, but when you look at the upgrade set that Gridiron Studios made on the right, and unfortunately for me, I just cracked the holster yesterday, but I'm mucking around with it, but it's 3D printed anyway, so I managed to, it was one of the earlier sets that wasn't quite as durable, but they've gotten a lot better. When I saw the loadout that Gridiron Studios made on the right there, I had to get it. And when I put it on the Duke figure, the FOMO was like justified. It was kind of my, the way I felt about it. So
wait, is that the one you got from me?
No, did I? I don't think I bought a Duke from you. Did I?
I can't remember.
You've shipped me a few things. So
Yeah.
you just need to move to Vancouver and then just trade in person like me and Dole do at the toy shows.
My life would be so much easier if I was like that. Yeah, I mean, that's you talk about shipping costs. Like I can't even do like cross border costs way more to get to me too. Like I can't even. I mean, Vancouver, for anybody that doesn't know, you can set up a U.S. kind of mailbox account and ship things to
the border,
Washington or Omak or wherever the back of the neck place is, just on the other side of the border, and just ship it there and drive across, spend the day, hit up Target, which we also don't have, and pop back with your goodies. It's an hour and a half to the closest border crossing to me. And that border crossing is certainly not, I mean, I probably could do that, but that border crossing is not ideal. So
yeah, you have to reship it with either cross border pickups or something like we got Shipsy here in Richmond now, so it's not as hard to get it. By the way, there's a lot of love for Animal Warriors of the Kingdom in the chat right now. People are talking about it. And Adam, I did touch base with Jason yesterday, Jason Bienvenu, and we'll get him on here and we can definitely talk the AWOC when it lands.
He is a great dude. The Animal Wars of the Kingdom is a fantastic line. I've seen it in the comments there, but I haven't been mentioning it because I have no regrets about backing that line. I'm really, really excited for that line. I talk to Jason all the time because I'm like, are you going to do this? Are you going to do this? When's the next comic book coming out? And he's very patient with me and very generous with his time. And I've had him on, and he's a pleasure to talk to, and just a great dude. So I mean, I hope people back that line for that reason too.
Is the comic gonna stay free, or is it gonna be paid at some point? Because I know the first one I think was free.
Ken, you've gotten them for free. They're not free.
Okay, I didn't want to say that part because that's kind of like trade secret right now.
Ken, you're kind of calling me out here because I sent them to you. That's why they're free.
Just edit this part out.
Yeah.
And that was today's episode of Toy Connections Online Livestream. See you all next week.
You're blowing up my spot here, Ken. I'm trying to get people hyped on it by sort of sharing some of that love. But
all right, well let's share some love for people who might not know what we're talking about. This is from eCollectibles website.ca. Hello, Mike. So here's Animal Warriors of the Kingdom.
How good do those look? Like, come on.
Oh wow, okay. This is what you guys are talking about. I'm very tempted to get that general thing. These are cool. Yeah, these are dope.
He's a thick boy.
Yeah.
And they scale with Mythic Legions, and they scale with Motu Classics as well.
And Masterverse.
Is the first wave of these out yet, or
in shipping? I think it's in transit. It's in transit, so yeah.
Yeah, these look great.
Mm-hmm.
That gorilla, I think might be coming with me.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat.
Ryan Sweeney was talking to me about the gorilla as well, and I bought the two next to him, Kali and Pale, but I'll probably pull the trigger on the gorilla relatively soon because I like supporting these independent sort of companies that have a good vision, right? And Harry, we talked a bit about that last night about supporting independent companies.
Okay, the vision with these guys is like this is an original IP that they've come up with. But on top of the fact that it's great looking figures, the comic book is great. Like I read comic books and I still think it's good. It's not like, oh, this is a comic book that goes with a toy line. So I'll buy it begrudgingly. It's genuinely a good comic book.
It's legitimately well done.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they're for wave 2, 2.5, because technically what you see on the screen there is waves 1 and 2. But wave 2.5, they're doing a tabletop game where you use the figures as the pieces in the game. Like,
nice.
It makes you play with your toys. Like, how has nobody thought of that before?
Well, I think Star Wars tried that at one point.
Probably.
And there's Star Wars tabletop games, right? Like the X-Wing.
There was, I think 2010, they came out with like a line that was even like, came with cards and the figures came with dice.
Okay.
And I think they tried to do that at some point as well. But of course, me being a Star Wars collector, I was like, I'll just put these dice in a bag and these toys are going to go on a shelf.
Well, maybe you can do that on your next on a future Star Wars flip through on Toy Anxiety. There,
Star
Dole.
Wars?
That's how collectors play
tabletop.
with things.
Mhm.
Put them in a drawer.
Yeah. So
I just have a drawer in my kitchen just full of dice from Star Wars.
that's awesome. Wow. It says we've been here past an hour and a half and the time just flew. Like I just had such a good time with you three and the chat and everything. Yes. Does anybody else have anything to do today, or can we just stay online until StreamYard kicks us and YouTube says
I
you hit your limit?
I stayed on somebody's video last night. I jumped on. He said he was going live yesterday. I think he said on Thursday he was going live Friday evening. And I was like, hey man, if you need a co-host, let me know. And he's like, really? And I was like, sure. We did 3 hours just hanging out, shooting the shit. That was AI Collectibles. That was last night. I'm doing this, this morning. I may do a video tonight, and then I'm doing my show tomorrow afternoon.
That's right.
It's just fun, man. Like this is, when we were chatting last night, me and Aaron from AI Collectibles. Look, I'm in Kelowna. There are other collectors here, but there's not really a collectors community, and they may collect different things than me. Maybe we have different personality types, so on and so forth. So for me, in a lot of ways, this is the equivalent of what we used to have in the schoolyard, right? Me hanging out and talking toys with my friends. We now have this platform that just makes this easy to do, right? We're all in 4 different places. When people sort of check in with where they are, it's pretty cool. Ken, I know that a lot of your videos, you're talking to people in South America, South Africa, Australia, Europe, it's so cool that we can all just come together and hang out for a little bit of time and talk about our similar experiences, as though they're kind of the same, but we're just shared experiences, because ultimately that's what collecting should be about. It should be about fun. It should be about community. We should be laughing and having fun doing this stuff. And it's great to have a platform and a venue where this can happen.
Yep. Agreed.
Indubitably. And talk about our regrets, more importantly.
Yeah. And have our
talk about what's not on the shelf. Right, guys?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, everybody in the chat. How many likes do we have, by the way, on the chat? Like what I can't even tell on the on the StreamYard thing.
StreamYard won't tell you, but here, let me check I think the last time I looked it was 44.
44.
Oh.
Wasn't there a goal? Wasn't there a goal where
47.
Dole has to do something embarrassing?
So what do we do at 50 likes? It's what was going to happen? Was Adam going to do a giveaway, or was Hatter going to sing for us? I've already put Dole on the spot. So, yeah.
Dole is going to recite every line from Batman Forever.
Oh, my gosh.
Specifically Batman Forever.
Line.
Yeah.
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir? No.
I'll get a drive-through.
Yes. That's the starting of the film.
That's when you knew.
That is the start of the film.
Yeah.
That's when you knew Tim Burton's Batman era was over. So
yeah. I don't know. There's I think there's only one Batman film I actually. Well, no, I guess that's not. I don't know if that's. I don't think Batman versus Superman is considered a Batman film. I think it's just a movie
adjacent.
That exists. I worked on it, so I can talk about all the shit I want on
that's
it.
Right, you're in the film industry. That's right.
So I can do that.
I have love, I think, for every Batman film.
What's that?
Yeah,
I have love for every Batman film.
1997, Batman and Robin.
Every one of them. Like Batman films, to me, they're kind of like children, where like I feel like, I mean, I only have one kid, but like I feel like if I had one that was kind of goofy, and I'd be like, you know what, I accept that kid for his or her goofiness. I have the same perspective with Batman. Maybe this is just going back. You have the luxury of being behind it and looking backwards now. But like I don't know. I'll watch Batman and Robin. I don't care. This was Joel Schumacher's vision of that's how he saw Batman. So I don't like. Does it all have to be Tim Burton? Does it all have to be Chris Nolan? You know.
I will give Schumacher this as well. He had some of the best establishing shots of Gotham City I have seen in any movie, because he would do because 66 is what he knew. So he would do these Dutch tilts.
Oh yeah.
And everything was grand, and like everything was still dark, but also this weird neon. He had beautiful, beautiful shots. Like it was still it was like a weird mix of what Burton was doing and what Adam West had.
Yeah, that's what I like about those movies. Yeah, it's and the Schumacher version infused all the giant statues, which I thought was really cool. Like Gotham had it would be a building, and on top of the building would be this giant Olympic statue, and they would drive on the stat. I was like, okay, so it's over the top, but you've never seen that before, so it's just like
it's
cool. I don't know. I think in its own, yeah, exactly. It was like a mix of 66 and the Tim Burton version. And maybe the story could have been better, but I don't know. I still have love. I still see that Harvey Dent Two-Face, Tommy Lee Jones, and I still
yes.
I remember. I like when he got old Harvey Dent in those movies. I don't know how many people remember, but he would, he'd be like Harvey, because he would be like the Joker the whole movie, and then Batman's like, Harvey, remember who you are, and he's like, yes, Bruce, yes. He would do that Tommy Lee Jones thing. Dude, I love that movie. I want to watch it right now. So I think too many people, not to deviate off topic.
No, that's okay, because you got Dole here, who's one of the biggest Batman fans around.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dole's right.
Batman. He's got Gotham City Tonight. We talk about toy anxiety, but Gotham City Tonight's channel is also in the description below. So,
but I always feel like the Tim Burton, not the Tim Burton, the Schumacher movies, to me feel like how myself as a kid would play with Batman toys.
Yes, absolutely.
That speaks to a good point too, and this is we're specifically talking about the Batman movies, but this is true, with what's happening with the DC film universe. This is true with what's happening with Star Wars fandom, even the MCU fandom. I know the Ninja Turtles fans don't like Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which my 7 and 3-year-old absolutely love, and so by extension, I absolutely love. Not everything is made for every audience,
sure.
And if everything is made for the fans that were in the seats in whenever whatever version is your favorite, right? If you only make it for those people that were in those seats for the rest of time, it's dead on the vine, because you're not expanding the fandom, and you're not appeasing the people that may have liked that in passing, but it wasn't quite their cup of tea.
Right.
If somebody doesn't like Tim Burton, maybe they prefer the Schumacher stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to meet somebody that would make that statement, but there's a place for all of it, right? And we have to allow for other people's interpretations and other people's tastes to sort of come into play. They may not be our favorite versions, but they may be somebody else's favorite version, or they may be somebody's gateway into looking into the other versions. Mm-hmm. To quote one of our favorite YouTubers, don't yuck people's yum. It's all about
who says that?
Encouraging people to love what they love, not criticizing them for picking the wrong Batman.
I will say this: if you're not a fan of Schumacher's Batman, either one of his films, I will always suggest this to folks: watch Batman Returns and Batman Forever back to back. They mesh beautifully.
They do. Yeah. So I do want to give a thanks to Gazz, who's been dropping everybody's links throughout this, and he's been spacing them out so everybody can go click. Gazz, one of the moderators of the channel, also a channel member. So, and he sometimes bans the sex bots before I can ban them in the chat, because it's there's a delay on StreamYard that people don't always know. So sometimes
why
Gazz
are we banning sex bots? What the hell?
Yeah, I was like, what? No, you can't be doing that.
It sounds like a party.
Well, I think it depends on the topic. So that's my cop-out answer. Yeah.
Hey man,
And
regrets and sex bots. Let me tell you, those are one and the same.
and Gazz and I will have to talk offline because he's not as big of he doesn't really care as much about the Nolan Batman, whereas to me that's like my favorite Batman. But maybe it's because I started reading the Batman comics around that time too. Prior to Nolan, all I knew was Nightfall. Right. Oh wait, no, I did read Death in the Family and the Rise of Tim Drake through that Lonely Place of Dying arc, but I didn't get the full Batman experience. It wasn't until the Nolan Batman that I'm like, I'm gonna go read Dark Knight Returns. I'm gonna go read Year One.
What's so great about being able to reinterpret the same IP in different versions, because someone likes the Burton version, someone likes the Schumacher version, someone likes the Nolan. That's actually the thing that I miss. That I think is a little bit of a shame with the MCU is that it's all one voice, it's all one version. I wish, how cool would it be? I'm just thinking of Tim Burton, but if Tim Burton was like, hey, Tim Burton, go make make an Iron Man, that probably wouldn't fit for him. But if you were to take other people that had visions and had their visions, Batman is in a rarefied air, as is Ninja Turtles, where it's you have all these different versions. All these different filmmaker versions. That is what is cool. The MCU works beautifully because it is one. It comes from one mind. But down the line, it would be interesting if they took other artists and auteurs, and they're like, "Hey, you go make a Hulk version." I don't know.
Well,
make
a Marvel. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to fit. Maybe it doesn't at some point have to fit in this oh, it's got to be part of a bigger thing. So that's I kind of miss. I miss that.
Give me Tim Burton New Mutants with Magic. Lead.
Yes. By the way, do you guys see Wednesday? That's a great show.
Oh, the Addams Family spinoff. Yeah.
I've been comparing Wednesday to New Mutants this whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, it's so X-Men. It's got a more X-Men vibe to me than. Well, no, it's like Addams Family, X-Men. That's the only way I can put it, because all the lore is still there from Addams Family.
Yeah.
The school itself, because it's all outcasts and people being rejected. It's got that X-Men vibe.
Yeah, the mansion. Yes.
Things happening.
The Xavier feel. Yes.
Yeah, it's just some of the dialogue can sometimes be a little cringe, but that's okay.
Well, you sort of headcanon it in your own space. It feels like it's New Mutants, right? And I was about to add to that, a lot of people sort of headcanon the Christopher Reeve Superman into the same universe as Michael Keaton Batman. You always people display there, and Linda Carter or Adam West if you don't want to do if what you prefer. Well, gentlemen.
Just quickly, Brick something in the comments there says, wild idea though, adapt other IP or characters. Warner Brother keeps giving us Batman and trying Superman. Marvel gave us Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain, Guardians of the Galaxy, Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel. It's a good point. It's a very valid point, is that I think maybe on some level, what Warner Brothers has been trying to do just isn't working for that reason. You're picking well-established that maybe there's less wiggle room for interpretation there. Whereas I'm all for them tearing that thing down, James Gunn tearing that down and starting from scratch. And I'm very curious to see what he does, because he did Guardians of the Galaxy, which
and he did Peacemaker.
So if you go to Marvel's archive and they're like, okay, who do you want to do a movie of? Who's thinking, oh, let's get Guardians of the Galaxy?
Nobody. I didn't even know about them until then.
On anybody's radar. And now, those characters are beloved to the point where we have a holiday special, which is absolutely fantastic.
And who knew about them 8 years ago?
One song from the old 97s on repeat. Yeah. That's our Christmas playlist, is that song over and over and over.
Wow.
I think with Marvel too, it's the brand itself is what, because a bunch of people know Guardians of the Galaxy, but because it's a Marvel brand, it's kind of you give it a chance. You gave it a shot. You're like, okay, Marvel is doing this. I do I kind of take back what I said about Marvel maybe not experimenting, because they did do that. Oh God, I'm blanking on the Werewolf by Night.
Yes,
which was so, dude. I had more fun watching that, and I didn't give a crap about Connected World. I don't really care where it connects into but I had so much fun because I'm like a old school Hammer Films black and white guy. I had so much fun watching that. So I take that back. They are starting to dive into like, let's experiment a little. So yeah.
I genuinely enjoyed She-Hulk as well.
Really? Not everyone did.
Loved it.
Okay. Wow.
I loved it.
I'm working through Andor right now, but maybe I'll give She-Hulk a try.
I'm working through Andor too.
Oh, Andor's fantastic.
Andor I also loved. She-Hulk I loved. When I first started reading comics back in the Jim Byrne sensational She-Hulk line was one of my first gateways outside of Uncanny X-Men and Spider-Man. And because again, you're like 12 years old and you're like, oh, who's this? Who's this on the cover?
Sure.
And you grab it. And the book was so funny and it was so good. And as I got older and I started to understand what the jokes were, the book got even better. And to me, that, like, even Dan Slott's run was so good on She-Hulk as well. So that show, the She-Hulk show, feels more like a straight adaptation from the comics more than any other thing that they've done. Straight up.
It feels like they've allowed for the sort of they've allowed them to do what they do with the comic books, right? Like if you read comic books, you tend to sort of stay in a lane, and once in a while you'll go out for a character or for a mini series or what have you. And what you find once you sort of get outside of sort of your comfort zone is that, like, not all comic books are Batman, right? Not every character is a superhero with a dark past and so on and so forth. And I love that they're sort of looking at something like She-Hulk, which, like you said, is it sort of a different style of comic book, and allowing them to do a different style of show that is still very much within, I think, the world, the continuity of the MCU.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
In the same way that Andor is Star Wars, just like Return of the Jedi is Star Wars, but there's no lightsaber battles, there's no Jedi, there's no.
Oh, there isn't? Damn. I got a finale to wait. No, I know.
Wow, come on, that's not a spoiler. Everybody was like waiting, like, when are we gonna see a lightsaber? Who is this guy?
I'm actually excited that I'm 8 episodes in and I have not seen a lightsaber. I'm
right around where you are, Hatter. I'm in the middle of the 9th episode. I haven't seen one yet.
This feels like a spy movie.
But it's great because it's world building, right?
And it's Andor. Like, it's of all people. Like, I wouldn't normally get excited for an Andor series as good as he was in Rogue One.
No, I'm in it. I hope they just. I'm not done yet. I just hope they just finish strong. But I'm like, this feels like
they finished strong.
Like,
talking to
Star Wars, but this doesn't feel like a kid thing. This doesn't. There's no goofiness. It's just like it's very good so far.
No, but it's a great example where they've sort of gone outside of the it's still within the sandbox, but they're playing in a very different corner of the sandbox than Tales of the Jedi is, right?
Yes, which I haven't watched yet.
Those really work. And that's what I was saying about, like, not everything has to have really strict parameters. Sometimes you can go, well, what else is happening in a galaxy far, far away? Let's look in another corner of the galaxy. Let's go to another planet. Let's check something else out. Like, I don't know. I mean, Mandalorian has that too, and I think Mandalorian is a really, really perfect balance. I think,
which is coming soon again. The new season.
But I think Mandalorian kind of screwed them a little bit because it's so good, but it's so well executed.
The new bar.
Everybody wants everything after that to be as good as that, which is just not possible.
Which we could do a whole stream on this era of Star Wars, like Obi-Wan and all that. Now, so sorry, lost my train of thought, then got it back, and then didn't know what to say. It's one of those weird moments. That's when you need a second cup of coffee, right? Or some alcohol, depending on how the day goes.
Or both.
A shot of whiskey in your morning coffee. So yeah, gentlemen, this has been an incredible time. But I do want to ask. I know, Adam, you said what you're up to tomorrow with a live stream. Hatter and Dole, you got anything you want to plug as far as your upcoming content or shenanigans going forward?
You first, Hatter.
Me first. Oh boy. just some reviews coming up, I think. What am I
Too many to
reviewing?
remember.
You got a
Yeah,
holiday
I gotta
music
do
video
the
in the
Super
works?
7 Wave 5 review. I'm excited for that, but apprehensive at the same time. I'm gonna start doing. I was thinking of doing. I don't think I have the time for this, but I was thinking of doing for like Hanukkah, like 8 crazy reviews.
Oh,
Oh.
man,
I thought I was
that's
gonna
awesome.
do. I was hoping to like, can I do like a review? Like, but they do take up time. But I don't know. My dream is I was hoping to see if maybe I could do like 8 reviews in a row or something because I have stuff piling up. Other than that, I don't know. Just I was thinking I might do like a podcast thing, whether it's audio or but something with Saturday morning cartoons and figures
Okay.
or
Yeah.
something
cool.
fun that I'm thinking about. Although I technologically suck, so I'll probably get some help with it and
I'm
figure
right
out
there
how
with
to
you.
how to put all that
Don't worry
together.
about that. Until Jay from Geek Dad Life got me backstage on StreamYard, I had no idea what it was. November of 2021. Now I'm on StreamYard every single week, right? So
Yeah.
I
No,
what
I
it
do
is.
this is
everything live because I have no idea how to edit anything.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with editing, but like I suck with like the live of it all and putting that together and where that gets distributed. But that's something that I am thinking about. So yeah, I guess I plugged something I was thinking about. That's real smart. But that's it. That's all I got. Dole.
Dole.
Me. All right. So I've got Toy Anxiety every Tuesday, 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. That's been ongoing now for a couple of years. I feel like almost 3 years now. But we are doing. I don't think we're taking a break during the holidays just because of when everything lands. So I think we're going to be going straight through. I did bring stuff from Vancouver to here to do another flippin' Star Wars, to go through
Nice.
Star Wars Galaxy magazine in the 90s, issue by issue. So that'll be on Toy Anxiety at some point during the break as well. And then I got Gotham City tonight. Like in an episode last night, she went solo to talk about Henry Cavill. Check her out, former Disney princess gone Gothamite. And now, yeah, she killed it. She's super charming, super fun, and I couldn't ask for a better like co-host. She's so
I saw part of that last night because I was still a little bit curious. Everyone's curious about the Henry Cavill situation.
Yeah,
so.
right. She's so good. And we try to have something out every Wednesday, and then occasionally we pop out on Fridays as well. So, and we're
Awesome.
trying to also think of like how do we have more time in the day to do more stuff within even Toy Anxiety and Gotham City. So once you have 2 channels, it's like
it's hard, isn't it? Yeah,
it feels constant, even if you're only doing 2 episodes a week.
It's all good. Oh,
Okay. But
thank
it's all
you for
good,
that.
and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on here, Ken.
No problem.
Oh, yeah,
Anything
thanks.
you gentlemen want to talk about? Like, look, 2 hours went by, and I feel like it's been about 20-25 minutes. And thanks to everyone in the chat too for showing up and keeping this thing going. Because it's all the viewers, subscribers, patrons, channel members, or just friends and people who view the channel. It's like, it's the people out there. You folks keep things running. You keep, for lack of a better term, the lights on as far as YouTube context is concerned. So it's always much appreciated. I've got some videos coming out throughout the coming weeks as well. I've had a few requests for history videos that I'll be working on over the next little while, like toy history type stuff. So, but look, all the links are in the description below to subscribe to any of the channels of these fine gentlemen. I'm just surrounded by so much charisma around this screen right now. It's awesome. I almost don't want to end the stream and just say the rest of my day be damned, but I won't do that. But hey, thanks everyone for showing up. Thanks everyone in the chat, and we'll see you all again sometime, hopefully soon. Not sure when the next stream is because Christmas Eve is next Saturday and Christmas Day is next Sunday. So we'll see when that comes up. All right, I'll stop rambling. And
I'm doing Christmas Day.
You're doing Christmas Day. All right, good. There's a trooper right there.
I'm going to do unboxing, unwrapping, because I'll have a whole bunch of toys. And so to avoid having to wait to open my toys, I'm just going to do it on the day.
I'm so jealous right now. So, all right.
I'll send you the link. You jump on if you want.
I might just do that. All right, folks, thanks again, and we'll see you all again soon.
Bye-bye.